Hey, welcome back to Movie Dudes. Make sure before we move on, you push subscribe and you hit that bell so that you know every single time we upload a video. Today we're going to be talking about a show that just released on Netflix and I watched really fast. Was Outer Banks. I honestly watched it because I was bored with everything else that's out there and I had nothing else to watch, thinking, what is this show?
So real quick, before we get into the review, we are going to talk about certain plot points and characters. There will be spoilers, is what I'm saying. So if you haven't watched it, go on Netflix, watch it. Once you watch the first episode, you'll get through it fast, okay? It's a fun time. It's a good show. You'll get into it. You'll binge it. But just so you know, we are going to be talking spoilers. So also, no spoilers in the comments, okay? Don't ruin it for someone else.
All right, so we're going to be talking about the good, just the good things that we thought about it, our mixed reviews, and then some things that were kind of like, yeah, that was just dumb. We're going to talk about those three main things, and we'll bring those up. Also, make sure that you guys comment in the comments, and just let's have conversation about this. We want to know your opinion as well.
Yeah.
In all things Outer Banks.
All right, so starting with the good. One of my favorite things about this is the acting. I feel like every one of the main characters gives a really good performance. And these are actors that we haven't really seen much before.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I don't know if you saw this. John B. and Sarah Cameron actually had little appearances in Stranger Things.
Did they?
Yeah. You should look it up. Just you can find it on YouTube or something.
No way.
Yeah. Just little, I think John B.'s like riding through a car.
First season or second season? Or both?
I'm not sure actually.
Whoa.
But I didn't notice it, obviously, because I wasn't looking for them when I watched Stranger Things, but I saw it on Twitter or something.
Crazy.
Like, oh, that's really interesting.
Didn't you tell me something about John B? He was like living in his car. What was that that you said?
So John B originally turned down I think his name in real life is Chase Stokes. He turned down the job because he thought it was a Goonies reboot.
Which I'm like, yes!
and he was like, I don't want to mess with something so great, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I get
So he turned it down, and then he auditioned for the role of Topper.
Oh.
And then...
Oh, that would be weird.
But then eventually they all figured it out, and I'm sure he's doing just fine now.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the acting. They all gave such good performances. John B. gave a great performance. Sarah Cameron gave a great performance. You can really believe their relationship.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of
believed it.
Times you'll watch TV shows, especially like this, where they're supposed to be teenagers, and you go, I don't know if I can really believe that romance. But I really believed it. They genuinely looked like they were having fun together.
Yeah.
Especially that episode 3 or 4 where they go to that college, and they're on the ferry together and stuff. I genuinely believe they're starting to fall for each other.
For sure.
And then you have the cliche scene with the rain, but
honestly,
it was great. And JJ his character was maybe my favorite character in the show. The scene where he buys the hot tub.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Kiara and Pope walk up and look at him, and you can see the bruises from where his dad beats him. That scene, honestly, I shed a tear. That was moving. It was moving. And they just hug him. It's just such a good scene.
Gosh, it was believable because I think that the reason this is a good show because it's relatable probably to a lot of people. Like, for instance, like you said, JJ, his relationship with his dad is so bad.
Yeah.
His dad beats the heck out of him. You have Kiara, who, you know, she might come from a wealthy family, but she just feels different. She doesn't feel like she's a part of who they are and the kind of life that they live, and she's trying to figure out who she is, and then she's got these 3 boys, and they're all in love with her, and they want to have a relationship with her. But and then you have Pope, who's got such a future ahead of him, there's not one character that went, that's not believable. They sold me on all of their characters, and they were all so different from each other.
Yeah, and you have the main 4 characters. Part of good acting is making us, the viewers, believe the character development.
Yeah. And
all 4 of the characters have such, from where they start to where they finish, is just completely on opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
They're starting, John B., you have him who completely hates Sarah Cameron and hates that side of the island, and then he ends up dating her. Yeah. And then you have Pope, who's like this good little nerdy guy and then by the end, he's like just stealing gas from his dad.
Yeah.
Walks out of the interview that he's been working for years for. You have JJ who at the end or at the beginning he's just taking a beating from his dad, and then he stands up and beats up his dad.
Come on.
And like that character development where he says, "I'm not scared of you anymore." I'm sure so many people could relate to that.
Yeah,
even if it wasn't
huge.
your dad being abusive, just a lot of people have problems with their dad. And so development of like, I'm not scared of you, or thinking I'm not scared of that issue anymore.
I'm not going to let that control me.
He's not scared of him physically anymore. He's not scared of
mentally.
That mental. And then you have actually thinking about it, Kiara doesn't really have that. Her character development isn't crazy besides her relationship with Pope, really.
Yeah, no, hers was fine. Like she was probably the simplest one out of all of them.
It's true. Yeah,
she came from a rich family, right? But she's hanging out with the normal people, the blue collar people, and that's who she wanted to be with because she didn't feel connected with all the rich, the rich and famous, as you would say. And so that's probably her character. But I think it's just more, a love interest. Like she was in there for more of a love interest, for the girl aspect, for it brought some realness to in relationship when it comes to all the three boys, because they kind of all had this thing for her. Yeah. Right? And John B and her kissed. Yeah. And it was like, oh my gosh, did that just happen? It didn't feel right. Yeah. When it happened, I was like, no. Yeah. Mm-mm. And then they felt the same way, obviously.
Yeah. And I will say, this is something we didn't mention. She does end up repairing her relationship with Sarah Cameron.
Oh, that's right.
So I guess there is some good character development there.
They threw me for a loop on that one. I didn't know there was anything. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they had a past.
Yeah. And it is pretty funny when I actually kind of laughed out loud when they leave them on the boat.
Yeah. That
was pretty funny. I like that.
They had to work it out.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next good part about the show is it's really, really entertaining. Oh, yeah. Even when there's parts where you're like, okay, like what's going on? This has gotten so crazy. It's still so entertaining. I think I watched the whole thing in a day and a half because I stayed up till 6 a.m. finishing it because I just wanted to know what happened. I couldn't take it. It's like I need to know what happens next because it drew me in and it had me hooked.
Yeah, it'll get you. I could see where they would say where John, what's his name, Chase. I could see where they would say where he wouldn't want to take the role because he thought it was a reboot of the Goonies, because it kind of has the same vibe of treasure hunting and discovering and all that kind of stuff. But the Goonies it's nostalgic. You can't beat the Goonies, but this was entertaining.
But it's not the same thing.
It's not.
They did a good job.
Treasure hunting though.
It's a show about a treasure hunt, but the characters are what make it so
the main part.
great.
Yeah. Like, you almost forget that they're chasing after a massive amount of gold.
Yeah. If there was mediocre acting, this wouldn't be a good show. All right, on to the mixed. Julian, why don't you start us off with the mixed?
Well, I'm a little mixed when it comes to the storyline. It's, like I said earlier, it's I can see where they would say it's a reboot, but it's not. I'm partial because when I know what's going to happen, I almost get bored, but they saved it by the good story between the characters. Yeah. Now, the character stories were good, but the overall story of there's gold and let's get it, and there's all this background, and for me it was like, it was okay. It was all right. I think they could have done a better job with the storyline, but I'm mixed.
One of the things that, it's whatever. It's not great. It's not bad. Is when how Ward finds out about them getting the gold is the kitchen window just happens to be open.
Right in the moment, they stop right there.
And then Sarah and John just happen to not notice that it's open and not notice that Ward is right there. Like, you think if they're talking about some top, how much gold is it? 400 million?
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
It's okay, maybe that's not exact, but it's a crazy amount of gold. You think that, and they know that Ward's in it on this.
100% they know.
And they're just talking about it in the open. Like, you can't go to your room and shut the door.
Yeah.
Or you can't go in John B's little hippie van and drive away.
Or
go to the beach.
It's just
easy. Like this. I wish that somehow Ward would have found something on his own. Or
it was like chance.
And it didn't affect the show that much, but it did kind of make me go like, oh really?
That was
like,
too easy. Like they could have thought about it a little bit more to make it a little bit more. And then even just like the way he got the gold, like it was like he heard it and then he couldn't figure it out, and John B realized where it was at, and then he gets this piece of paper from his wife that says this lady wants to put up her house for sale because she got robbed, and all of a sudden he has all the gold on the plane and it's headed down to Panama. Like it was just like boom, 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 gold's gone, he's got it, move on. You know, so that kind of, I think they could have done a little bit better job with that. So,
I agree.
Yeah, I think it took me about 3 episodes to really, really get into it. Like, my wife started it, and she got into 1, and she's like, yeah, I'm not going to watch the rest of it. I was like, just keep going. Just keep going. It gets better. So it took me about 3 episodes to really get into it.
I would say it didn't take me 3 episodes just because I saw Sarah Cameron in the first episode, and I'm not a married man. I'm a single guy. So I see Sarah Cameron, I'm like, probably going to have to watch episode 2 now. I need to see more of this girl.
I've been married for 14 years, so that's not me for sure.
All right. On to the bad. So the first thing on the bad, you can tell they're not teenagers. Oh, they say they're 16. You can tell
like
these
16,
are grown
15.
people.
I'm like, they are not 16,
like
15.
Chase Stokes, who plays John B, is 27 in real life. And they're trying to make us believe that
he's 16.
He's 16 in the show. He's supposed to be 16.
That's nuts. Well, they did save it though. I guess that does help with the acting. Because, I mean, in my opinion, they're probably better actors when they're a little bit older.
Yeah, it makes sense. More experienced.
But it wasn't that believable.
Yeah. I mean, that's a kind of a little thing, but it just takes you out of it sometimes. Like, you think, they're supposed to be 16. And
Another thing that was a little weird to me was when Topper pushed John B off the 40-foot thing. Like,
oh, my God.
And then he like, fractures his wrist. Like, it wasn't even, like, a break, really. Like, he was barely hurt.
He got a concussion. 2 days later.
Yeah, he got a concussion.
And you don't even notice he has a concussion.
Yeah.
He's like perfectly fine.
Yeah, that to me, I'm like, honestly, if someone got pushed off a 40-foot cliff or whatever and fell on his back, they're probably hurt really bad. Yeah. So that one I was like,
or at least give me some broken legs.
Yeah, they should have broken hip.
This man, he would not be okay.
I don't think he even had a cut.
Or make it a shorter tower.
Yeah, make it shorter. Like 15 feet. Like, that would have been believable.
Just, I have a hard time, like, thinking about them making it and them shooting that scene and going, this might look a little unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're pushing him off a 40-foot tower, and he's just going to have a broken wrist and a mild concussion.
And Chase posted the video clip of them actually filming that.
Oh, really?
It was all green screened, and it was a stunt double. It wasn't even him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get it. I understand. I wouldn't do it either. But it just wasn't believable. Like, I feel like he would have been really hurt.
Yeah. And on to the next... Honestly, most of the bad things that we have about this are scenes like that. The next one is when they're in the airport and John B rams through the fence with his hippie van, and then he outruns the plane. Yeah, we have our own little motto. So the plane's going here, and the van somehow keeps up with it. And the plane's going fast enough to about to take off, right? They're about to take off. So I don't know a lot about planes. I'm not a pilot or anything.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
But I'm guessing that it's fast.
Well, much faster than an old hippie van.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. That was one of those things where I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
It's little things like that they just kind of take you out of the show, and you're watching it and you're going like, it takes you away from the story and makes you think like, what's going on?
That's the technical side. That's the technical brain saying, "There's no way that can happen." You know, but people like me, I'm like, I didn't even notice that until you said it. To be honest with you, when you said it, I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Yeah. But before, I'm like, yes, that hippie van saved the day. The last one that was really hard for me was the hurricane at the very end when John B and Sarah took off and they went full force into the hurricane and then survived. They're teenagers, 16 years old, into a hurricane. Yeah. And the way it like tops over, I don't know about that one. Like, I think there could have been something else.
Yeah.
With that one. I just didn't believe it. I kind of was like, this is a weird way to end the entire show.
I wish they would have just thought, like, I almost wish they would have done something more like the kids had this really intelligent plan, like how John B is originally gonna escape
Yes.
before he misses Sarah or whatever.
Yes.
Or they don't meet up at the right spot.
It was kind of like all that they thought about and they learned throughout this entire thing. They just threw it away and just went, let's just do whatever we think right now in this moment,
Yeah.
you know, rather than thinking. They went right into this hurricane. And then I almost feel like if they would have just gone into the hurricane, they should have just ended the show without us knowing.
Oh, that would have been so
what
much
happened
better.
That way we would look forward
and not
to
put that last scene on.
Yeah,
And
like
did they die? Did they survive?
yeah, I would have looked
been
forward to the next season more if they did that.
Yeah,
rather than
that would have
showing
been
us what happened.
crazy. That would have been crazy.
It would have been better almost too if they just took the hippie van and they just drove somewhere, you know, and hid, or I don't know, like it just didn't get it. I didn't get it. I wasn't in at the very end.
Yeah.
They lost me at the very end.
And honestly, the people I've talked to, my friends and people I've talked to about the show, that's been their main thing is
the ending.
How did they, like, why would they do that ending?
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, a lot of good about this show. The bad is just stuff that we can get over it, you know?
Oh, I can
get over it. We'll forget about it. You didn't even realize a couple of the things that I said.
No.
So, out of 10, what are you rating it? Out of 10?
I'll put it at a 7. I think
7, okay.
I think good acting keeps it up there when it comes to shows, on Netflix especially. Netflix, man. But I would put it at a 7, yeah.
I'm going to go with an 8.5.
8.5?
I really liked it. I mean, maybe if Sarah Cameron isn't in the show, it's like a 6 for me. But Sarah brings it up to an 8.5 for me. I'm giving it 8.5.
Hey, if you know Sarah Cameron, just tag her on this. You can introduce her to Dylan. I think they're the same age. They're about 21.
We are.
So
I already checked.
You already checked. He already checked. He's done his homework. He's ready to get married.
Okay, so wrapping it up. Tell us what you think down below in the comments, and leave a like, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.